friends, our topic, act like you don't want anyone's attention, may seem paradoxical at first glance, but I assure you, it contains within it the very essence of manifestation and the key to unlocking your divine potential. As we embark on this journey together, I want you to suspend all preconceived notions about attention, recognition, and validation. But what I'm about to share with you is beyond the surface level understanding of human behavior and delves deep into the spiritual realm of creation and manifestation. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. This eternal truth, my dear friends, is the foundation upon which we will build our understanding. For you see, the Word is not merely a spoken utterance, but it is the very essence of creation itself. It is the power of imagination, the force that shapes reality. When we constantly seek attention from others, we are, in essence, denying our own divinity. We are looking outside of ourselves for validation, for confirmation of our worth, when all along the kingdom of heaven is within us. By acting as if we don't want anyone's attention, we are aligning ourselves with our true nature, with the God within. Consider for a moment the story of creation. God did not create the world and then seek validation from his creation. No, he simply spoke and it was so. He imagined and it came to be. This, my friends, is the power that resides within each and every one of you. You are made in the image and likeness of God, and therefore you possess the same creative power. When you act as if you don't want anyone's attention, you are mirroring this divine attribute. You are declaring to the universe, I am complete. I am whole. I am sufficient unto myself. And in doing so, you are aligning yourself with the creative power of the universe. Now let us delve deeper into the mechanics of this principle. When you seek attention, you are operating from a state of lack. You're saying to the universe, I am not enough as I am. I need others to validate my existence. This state of consciousness attracts more experiences that reinforce this feeling of lack. It's a self-perpetuating cycle that keeps you trapped in a limited version of yourself. But when you act as if you don't want anyone's attention, you're operating from a state of abundance. You are saying, I am complete. I am whole. I need nothing outside of myself. This state of consciousness attracts experiences that reinforce your sense of completeness and wholeness. You begin to manifest a reality that reflects your inner state of being. My dear friends, understand this. The world is you pushed out. Everything you perceive in your outer reality is a reflection of your inner state. When you constantly seek attention, you are projecting a state of neediness and lack onto the world around you. But when you act as if you don't need attention, you project a state of completeness and self-sufficiency. This is not to say that you should become a hermit or shun all human interaction. Far from it. Rather, it means that you interact with the world from a place of fullness rather than emptiness. You give of yourself freely, not because you need something in return, but because you are overflowing with abundance. Consider the sun. It does not shine to gain attention or recognition. It shines because that is its nature. It gives light and warmth freely, asking nothing in return. And yet all life on earth turns towards it, basks in its radiance, and flourishes because of it. This, my friends, is how you should be in the world. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Neville, how can I act as if I don't want attention when I feel a deep need for validation? And to this I say, you must use your divine gift of imagination. For imagination is the bridge between your current state and your desired state. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself moving through the world with complete self-assurance. See yourself interacting with others from a place of inner peace and contentment. Feel the sense of wholeness and completeness that permeates your being. This is not something outside of you that you need to attain. It is your true nature, your divine inheritance. As you hold this image in your mind, as you feel the reality of it, you're impressing it upon your subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind, being the faithful servant that it is, will begin to bring this state into manifestation in your outer world. Remember, my dear friends, that your consciousness is the only reality. What you assume to be true, what you feel to be real, is what will manifest in your experience. When you assume the feeling of being complete and whole, when you embody the state of not needing anyone's attention, you are setting in motion the forces that will bring this reality into manifestation. This principle applies to all areas of your life. In your relationships, when you act as if you don't need attention or validation from others, you become magnetic. People are naturally drawn to those who are self-assured and content within themselves. In your career, when you focus on doing excellent work for its own sake rather than for recognition, you often find that recognition comes naturally. But here's the key. You must persist in this new state of consciousness. It's not enough to simply imagine it once and then revert to your old patterns of thinking and behavior. You must live from this new state consistently, even when your outer circumstances haven't yet caught up with your inner reality. This, my friends, is what it means to live by faith. It's not about believing in something outside of yourself, but about having faith in the power of your own consciousness to shape your reality. It's about trusting in the law of assumption, knowing that what you assume to be true must and will manifest in your experience. Now let us address a common misconception. Acting as if you don't want attention doesn't mean becoming invisible or diminishing your light. On the contrary, it means shining your light so brightly that you don't need to draw attention to it. It means being so secure in who you are that you don't need external validation. Think of the great spiritual teachers throughout history. They didn't seek attention or acclaim. They simply were who they were, and the world was drawn to their light. This is the power that resides within each of you. When you tap into your true nature, when you align with the God within, you naturally become a beacon of light in the world. My dear friends, understand this stems from a misstanding of your true nature. You seek attention because you believe you lack something, that you need something from the outside to complete you. But I tell you this, you are already complete. You are already whole. You are already one with the source of all creation. When you truly grasp this truth, when you embody it in your consciousness, the need for attention falls away naturally. You no longer seek validation from others because you understand that all the validation you need is already within you. You are the operant power in your life. You are the God of your universe. Now some of you may be wondering, but Neville, won't acting as if I don't want attention make me less successful in life? And to this I say, success is not about gaining attention or recognition from others. True success is about aligning with your divine nature and expressing it fully in the world. When you act from this place of alignment, when you move through the world as a complete and whole being, you naturally attract experiences that reflect this state of being. You find yourself in the right place at the right time. Opportunities seem to fall into your lap. People are drawn to your energy and want to work with you. This is not because you're seeking attention or trying to impress others. It's because you're vibrating at a frequency that aligns with your highest good. You're in harmony with the creative forces of the universe. And the universe responds in kind. Consider the story of Joseph in the Bible. He didn't seek attention or recognition. He simply did what was right, regardless of his circumstances. Whether he was a slave or a prisoner, he acted with integrity and excellence. And in due time, he was elevated to a position of great power and influence. This, my friends, is the power of acting as if you don't want anyone's attention. It's about focusing on being your best self, on expressing your divine nature, regardless of external circumstances. It's about trusting in the law of assumption, knowing that your inner state will inevitably be reflected in your outer reality. Now let us delve even deeper into this principle. When you act as if you don't want anyone's attention, you are, in essence, surrendering your ego. You are letting go of the need to be seen, to be recognized, to be validated by others. And in this surrender, you open yourself up to a higher power. You see, my dear friends, the ego is like a veil that separates you from your true nature. It's the part of you that believes you are separate from God, separate from the source of all creation. When you surrender this ego, when you let go of the need for attention and recognition, you remove this veil. You allow your true nature, your divine self, to shine through. This is what it means to die to your old self and be reborn. It's not a physical death, but a death of the ego, of the false self that believes it needs validation from the outside world. And in this death, you are reborn as your true self, as the God-man that you truly are. When you operate from this place, when you act as if you don't want anyone's attention, you are allowing the God within you to express itself fully. You become a clear channel for divine inspiration. Ideas flow through you effortlessly. Creativity becomes your natural state of being. You find yourself guided to take actions that are in perfect alignment with your highest good. This, my friends, is the true meaning of success. It's not about accumulating wealth or fame or power. It's about aligning with your divine nature and allowing it to express itself fully in the world. And when you do this, when you act from this place of alignment, all those other things, wealth, recognition, influence, tend to follow naturally. But here's the key. You must not seek these things for their own sake. You must seek first the kingdom of God which is within you. You must align with your true nature, with the God within. And when you do this, when you act as if you don't need anyone's attention because you are already complete and whole, all these things will be added unto you. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Neville, this sounds too good to be true. Surely it can't be this simple. And to this I say, the truth is always simple. It's our human minds that complicate things. The law of assumption, the principle of acting as if, is as simple and as natural as breathing. Just as you don't have to think about how to breathe. You don't have to struggle to apply this principle. You simply need to assume the state of being complete and whole, of not needing anyone's attention. You need to feel it as real, to live from that state consistently. And as you do this, you will find your outer world naturally aligning with this inner state. Remember, my dear friends, that creation is finished. All possible states already exist. When you act as if you don't want anyone's attention, you are not creating a new state. You are simply selecting a state that already exists and stepping into it. You're choosing to occupy a version of reality where you are already complete and whole. This is the power of your imagination. It is the power to select from infinite possibilities and make them your reality. When you imagine yourself as someone who doesn't need attention, who is secure in their own being, you are selecting that version of yourself from the infinite versions that exist. And as you persist in this state, as you live from it consistently, it becomes your reality. Now, let us address a common challenge that many face when applying this principle. You may find that old habits of seeking attention die hard. You may catch yourself falling back into patterns of neediness or validation seeking. When this happens, do not judge yourself harshly. Simply observe it, acknowledge it, and then consciously choose again. Remember, you are in the process of transformation. You are shifting from one state of consciousness to another. This shift doesn't always happen overnight. It requires persistence, patience, and above all, faith in the law of assumption. Each time you catch yourself seeking attention, use it as an opportunity to reaffirm your new state. Say to yourself, I remember when I used to seek attention, but now I know that I am complete and whole within myself. In doing so, you are rewriting your subconscious patterns and reinforcing your new state of being. My dear friends, understand, the world is a mirror reflecting back to you your own consciousness. When you consistently act as if you don't want anyone's attention, when you live from a state of completeness and wholeness, the world will begin to reflect this back to you. You will find that people treat you differently. They will respect you more, value your opinions more highly, seek out your company more often. This is not because you've done anything to impress them or gain their attention. It's simply because you're radiating a different energy. You're vibrating at a higher frequency. And people naturally respond to this energy, often without even knowing why. Consider the great spiritual teachers throughout history. They didn't seek followers or try to impress anyone. They simply embodied their truth, lived from their divine nature. And people were naturally drawn to them, sensing the power and authenticity of their being. This, my friends, is the power that resides within each of you. when you act as if you don't want anyone's attention, when you live from a place of inner completeness, you become like these great teachers. You become a light in the world, not because you're trying to be, but because it's your natural state of being. Now let us take this principle even further. When you act as if you don't want anyone's attention, you are, in essence, practicing detachment. You are detaching from the outcomes of your actions, from the opinions of others, from the need for external validation. This detachment is not indifference. It's not about not caring. Rather, it's about caring so deeply about being true to your divine nature that everything else becomes secondary. It's about being so aligned with your inner truth that external opinions and validations lose their power over you. In this state of detachment, you find true freedom. You're no longer bound by the opinions of others or the need for their approval. You're free to express your divine nature fully, without fear or hesitation. And in this freedom, you find your greatest power. You see, my dear friends, when you're not bound by the need for attention or approval, you're free to take risks, to be creative, to express yourself authentically. You're free to follow your intuition, to pursue your true calling without worrying about what others might think. This freedom is the birthright of every human being. It's the natural state of the God-man that you truly are. When you act as if you don't want anyone's attention, you are reclaiming this birthright. You are stepping into your true power as a divine being. Now, some of you may be wondering, but Neville, won't acting as if I don't want attention make me seem aloof or uncaring? And to this I say, quite the opposite. When you're not seeking attention for yourself, you're free to give your full attention to others. Think about it. When you're constantly seeking attention, your focus is on yourself. You're thinking about how you're being perceived, whether you're making a good impression, whether the people are noticing you. But when you let go of this need for attention, you're free to truly see and hear others. In this state, you become a better listener, a more empathetic friend, a more effective leader. You're able to connect with others on a deeper level because you're not distracted by your own need for validation. You're present, fully engaged in the moment, fully focused on the person in front of you. This, my friends, is true charisma. It's not about drawing attention to yourself, but about being so present, so authentic that people are naturally drawn to you. It's about being so secure in yourself that you can give your full attention to others without needing anything in return. As we near the end of our time together, I want to leave you with this thought. Acting as if you don't want anyone's attention is not about becoming invisible or diminishing your light. It's about shining so brightly from within that you don't need external sources to illuminate you. It's about knowing, truly knowing, that you are already complete, already whole, already one with the source of all creation. It's about living from this knowing, embodying it in every thought, every word, every action. When you do this, when you act from this place of inner completeness, you become a powerful force in the world. Not because you're seeking to be, but because it's the natural expression of your true nature. So go forth, my dear friends, and practice this principle. Act as if you don't want anyone's attention. Live from a place of inner completeness and wholeness. Trust in the law of assumption, knowing that as you assume this state, it must and will manifest in your outer reality. Remember, you are the operant power in your life. You are the God of your universe. As you think and feel and assume, so shall your world be. Choose wisely, choose consciously, and watch as your world transforms before your very eyes. And above all, have faith. Faith in the law, faith in your divine nature, faith in the power of your consciousness to shape your reality. For with faith, all things are possible. Thank you, my dear friends, for your attention and your presence. May you go forth and live from the God within you, shining your light brightly in the world. Not for attention or acclaim, but because it is your true nature to do so. God bless you all. I want to reveal to you why these words hold such tremendous power and how you can use them to manifest everything you've ever desired. You see, most people spend their entire life searching outside themselves for power, for permission, for validation. They believe their desires must be achieved through hard work, struggle, and external forces. But I tell you this, all power resides within your own consciousness. When you declare, I am the power, you are acknowledging the fundamental truth of existence. You are recognizing that the force that moves the stars and grows the flowers is the same force that flows through your consciousness. Let me tell you something profound about these 4 words. When you speak them, you're not making a mere affirmation. You're declaring your true nature, your essential being. You're acknowledging the creative force within you. Consider this. Every great achievement in human history began with someone recognizing their inner power. They didn't wait for external permission. They didn't seek validation from others. They understood that all power flows from within. You see, most people have it backwards. They say, when I have this, then I will be powerful. But I tell you this, you must first assume your power, and then all things become possible. These 4 words, I am the power, are not just words to be spoken. They must be felt. They must be lived. They must become your dominant state of consciousness. Let me share with you what happens when you truly embody these words. The entire universe must reorganize itself to reflect your new self-concept. This is not metaphysics. This is law. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about what you want to manifest. But I tell you this, manifestation is not about getting something you don't have. It's about revealing what already exists within your consciousness. When you declare, I am the power, you're not creating power. You're acknowledging what has always been true. This recognition changes everything. Your entire world must shift to align with this declaration. You see, most people approach manifestation like beggars, hoping and wishing for their desires to be granted. But when you know I am the power, you approach life as a creator, knowing that what you decree must manifest. Let me share something profound about consciousness. Your consciousness is the only reality. Everything you see in your world is simply consciousness made visible. Therefore, when you declare I am the power, you're literally reshaping your entire universe. Think about this. Every morning when you wake up, you're either reinforcing your powerlessness or claiming your power. There's no neutral position. Every thought, every feeling, every assumption is either aligning with I am the power or denying it. You see, these 4 words are not just a positive affirmation. They are a recognition of the fundamental truth of your being. When you truly grasp this, manifestation becomes as natural as breathing. Most of you have been taught to look for power in external circumstances, in money, in relationships, in social status. But I tell you this, all these things are merely effects. The cause lies in your consciousness. Consider what happens when you truly know, I am the power. You no longer beg, you no longer plead, you no longer hope. You simply decree, and by law, your decree must manifest. Let me share with you why these words are so transformative. When you declare, I am the power, you're shifting your entire self-concept. You're no longer seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances, but as the creator of circumstances. You see, most people spend their lives reacting to what they see. But when you know I am the power, you understand that what you see is simply your consciousness pushed out. Therefore, to change what you see, you must change your consciousness. Think about this. Every great achievement began with someone knowing they were the power. They didn't wait for conditions to change. They changed conditions by changing their consciousness. Let me share with you what happens in the depths of consciousness when you truly embody these 4 words. Your entire world begins to reorganize itself to match your new self-concept. You see, most people believe their circumstances dictate their state of being. But when you declare, I am the power, you reverse this process. Your state of being now dictates your circumstances. Consider this. Every moment of your life, you're either expressing power or expressing limitation. There is no middle ground. When you truly grasp these 4 words, you cease giving power to external conditions. Let me tell you something profound about manifestation. When you know I am the power, you stop asking how things will manifest. You understand that the power that knows the way will make the way. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about your problems, your limitations, your obstacles. But I tell you this, these are merely shadows cast by a consciousness that has forgotten I am the power. You see, when you truly embody these four words, you enter a new dimension of being. In this dimension, problems don't need to be solved. They simply dissolve in the light of your consciousness. Think about this. Everything you see in your world right now is the result of your previous concepts about yourself. Change the concept by knowing I am the power, and your world must change. Let me share with you the true meaning of these words. When you declare I am the power, you're not making a positive statement. You're acknowledging your true identity. Most of you have been taught to look for causes outside yourself. But when you know I am the power, you understand that you are the only cause in your world. Consider this carefully. Every condition in your life right now is simply a shadow of your consciousness. When you truly know I am the power, you cease fighting shadows and start changing consciousness. Let me tell you about the transformative nature of these four words. When you declare I am the power, you're not just changing your thoughts. You're changing the very foundation of your reality. You see, most people live their entire lives believing they're victims of circumstances. But when you truly embody I am the power, you understand that circumstances are merely reflections of consciousness. Consider what happens when you wake up each morning knowing I'm the power. Suddenly, obstacles become opportunities. Problems become possibilities. Every challenge becomes a chance to demonstrate your creative power. Let me share something profound about these words. When you declare I am the power, you're not making a future promise. You're claiming a present reality. This distinction changes everything. Most of you sit here thinking about what you want to create in your future. But I tell you this, there is no future creation. There is only present assumption. When you know I am the power, you understand that what you assume now must manifest. You see, these four words are not just a statement. They are a complete shift in consciousness. When you truly embody them, you cease looking outside yourself for anything. Think about this. Every time you say, I can't, or it's too difficult, you're denying these four words. You're giving your power away to external conditions. Let me tell you what happens when you consistently maintain this consciousness. Your entire world must reshape itself to reflect your new self-concept. Most of you have spent years accumulating evidence of your limitations. But when you know I am the power, you understand that all past evidence is irrelevant. Only your present assumption matters. Consider this. Every great achievement in your life began with a shift in consciousness. When you knew you could, you did. These four words simply make this knowing permanent. Let me share with you something profound about these four words that most will never understand. When you declare, I am the power, you're not just making a statement. You're activating the very force that created the universe. You see, most people spend their lives waiting for permission to be powerful. They wait for the right circumstances, the right credentials, the right moment. But I tell you this, the only permission you need is your own recognition that I am the power. Consider what happens in your world when you truly embody these words. Your relationships change because you no longer seek power from others. Your work transforms because you no longer depend on external validation. Your entire life shifts because you're operating from a new dimension of consciousness. Let me tell you about the subtle shift that occurs when you consistently maintain this state. You stop asking, when will my desire manifest? Because you understand that manifestation is not a future event. It's a present moment recognition. Most of you have been taught that power is something to be acquired. But when you declare I'm the power, you understand that power is your natural state. Everything else is learned powerlessness. You see, these four words challenge everything you've been taught about. Cause and effect. When you know I am the power, you understand that consciousness is the only cause and everything else is effect. Think about this. Every time you say I hope or I wish, you're denying these four words. You're placing power outside yourself in some future event or external circumstance. Let me share with you what happens when you maintain this consciousness consistently. Your entire world must rearrange itself to match your new self-concept. This is not theory, this is law. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about your past failures. your current limitations, your future obstacles. But I tell you this, all of these are merely shadows cast by a consciousness that has forgotten I am the power. Consider this. Every moment of your life, you're either expressing power or expressing limitation. There is no neutral ground. When you truly grasp these four words, you cease giving power to anything external. Let me reveal to you the deeper meaning behind these four words. When you declare I am the power, you're not making a casual statement. You're aligning yourself with the fundamental creative force of the universe. You see, most people live their entire lives believing that power lies in their actions, their resources, their connections. But I tell you this, all these are merely expressions of consciousness. When you know I am the power, your actions flow from this knowing. Consider what happens when you approach each day from this consciousness. You no longer wake up wondering what the day will bring. You wake up knowing that you bring to the day whatever you decree in consciousness. Let me tell you about the transformation that occurs when you live from these four words. You stop seeking validation from others because you understand that all validation comes from within. You stop fighting circumstances because you know that circumstances are merely shadows. Most of you have spent years trying to change effects while leaving the cause untouched. But when you declare, I am the power, you go straight to the cause, your own consciousness.
You see, these four words contain within them the secret of all creation. When you truly embody them, you understand that everything in your world is simply your consciousness pushed out.
Think about this. Every time you blame external conditions for your state, you're denying these four words. You're giving away your creative power to shadows. Let me share with you what happens when this consciousness becomes natural to you. You stop asking, how will this happen? Because you understand that the power that knows the way will make the way. Most of you sit here thinking about what's possible and what's impossible. But I tell you this, possibility and impossibility exist only in consciousness. When you know I am the power, all things become possible. Consider this. Every limitation in your life right now exists only because you've accepted it in consciousness. When you truly embody these four words, all limitations dissolve. Let me share with you something profound about these four words that will forever change how you view manifestation. When you declare I am the power, you're not just speaking words. You're awakening to your true identity. You see, most people spend their lives seeking power through achievement, through accumulation, through recognition. But I tell you this, all seeking ends when you realize that you are what you've been seeking. Consider what happens when you truly grasp these words. You stop looking for signs, you stop waiting for permission, you stop seeking approval, because when you know I am the power, what else could you possibly need? Let me tell you about the shift that occurs in your relationships when you embody these words. You no longer need others to complete you, to validate you, to empower you. You become complete within yourself, and paradoxically, this completeness attracts more fulfilling relationships. Most of you have been taught that power comes from doing. But when you declare I'm the power, you understand that power comes from being. Your doing then flows naturally from your being. You see, these four words revolutionize your entire approach to manifestation. You stop trying to make things happen and start allowing them to unfold from your consciousness. Think about this. Every time you say, I'll try or I hope, you're actually denying your power. You're placing the fulfillment of your desires in some uncertain future. Let me share with you what happens. When you maintain this consciousness consistently, your entire world must reshape itself to reflect this new self-concept. This is not magic, this is law. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about what you need to do to manifest your desires. But I tell you this, manifestation is not about doing, it's about being. When you know I am the power, the doing takes care of itself. Consider this. Every great achievement in history began with someone knowing their power. They didn't wait for conditions to be perfect. They understood that conditions respond to consciousness, you see. Most people spend their lives in reaction mode, responding to circumstances, adapting to conditions. But I tell you this, when you know I am the power, you create circumstances. You determine conditions. Consider what happens when you approach each moment from this consciousness. You no longer see problems as obstacles. You see them as opportunities to demonstrate your creative power. Let me tell you about the transformation that occurs in your financial world when you embody these words. Money ceases to be something you chase and becomes something you attract through your consciousness of abundance. Most of you have been programmed to believe that success requires struggle. But when you declare, I am the power, you understand that success is simply the natural expression of your consciousness. You see, these 4 words completely transform your relationship with time. When you truly know I am the power, you cease postponing your good to some future date. Think about this. Every time you say, when I have this, then I'll be powerful, you're denying your present power. You're placing your power in external conditions. Let me share with you what happens when this consciousness becomes your natural state. Your entire experience of reality shifts. What seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about your past failures, your present limitations, your future uncertainties. But I tell you this, all these are merely shadows cast by a consciousness that has forgotten its power. Consider this. Every moment of your life, you're either expressing power or expressing limitation. There's no middle ground. When you truly grasp these 4 words, you cease giving power to anything external. Let me share with you the final and most crucial understanding about these 4 words. When you declare, I am the power, you are making the ultimate declaration of independence from all external influences. You see, tonight marks a turning point in your life. From this moment forward, you will never again see yourself as powerless. You will never again give your power away to circumstances, to other people, or to past experiences. Consider this moment right now. As you sit here absorbing these words, you have a choice. You can continue living as you have been, seeing power as something outside yourself, or you can claim your true identity by knowing I am the power. Let me tell you what your world will look like when you fully embody these words. Everything that once seemed like an obstacle will become a stepping stone. Every challenge will become an opportunity to demonstrate your creative power. Most of you came here tonight seeking answers. But I tell you this, the only answer you need is already within you. It is the knowing, the absolute conviction that I am the power. You see, these 4 words are not just a technique or a method. They are a complete revolution in consciousness. When you truly embody them, your entire world must transform. Think about tomorrow morning when you wake up. Will you rise as the same person who came here tonight? Or will you rise knowing I am the power, ready to create your day consciously? Let me share with you this final truth. There's no power outside of you. There never was and there never will be. All power resides in consciousness, and you are that consciousness. From this moment forward, let every breath you take be a reminder that I am the power. Let every heartbeat affirm this truth. Let every step you take be from this consciousness. Remember, you are not becoming powerful. You are simply recognizing what has always been true. You are the power that creates worlds. You are the power that moves mountains. You are the power that transforms lives. Tonight, make this sacred commitment to yourself. Promise that you will never again deny your power. Promise that you will never again give your power away. Promise that you will live every moment from the consciousness that I am the power. For this promise lies your freedom. In this recognition lies your transformation. In this knowing lies everything you have ever desired. Go forth now, not as seekers, but as knowers, not as hopeful dreamers, but as conscious creators, not as victims of circumstances, but as masters. For when you know, truly know, I am the power, nothing in this world can stand against you. Nothing can deny you. Nothing can limit you. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your power. Now rise up and claim it. Rise up and live it. Rise up and be it. For you are the power. You have always been the power. And you will always be the power. Let this be your final understanding. your ultimate truth, your eternal knowing. I am the power. And so it is.
Remember always, the world is yourself pushed out. Every person you encounter, every relationship you experience is but a reflection of your own consciousness. The attachment you feel to others, the fear of being alone, these are nothing more than states of consciousness that you have accepted as real. But I say to you now, with all the conviction of my being, that true happiness, lasting fulfillment, comes not from outside yourself, but from within. Let us begin by understanding what it truly means to let them go. This is not about physically pushing people away or cutting ties with those you care about. It is about releasing your attachment to the idea that your happiness depends on them. It is about recognizing that the love, joy, and fulfillment you seek from others are already within you, waiting to be expressed. When you cling to others for your happiness, when you make your joy dependent on their presence or approval, you are denying your own divinity. You are saying to the universe, I am not enough on my own. I need this person to complete me. And the universe, being a perfect mirror, will reflect back experiences that reinforce this belief. But I tell you this, you are complete. You are whole. You are the operant power in your reality. The happiness you seek is not something to be found or gained, but something to be remembered and expressed from within. Imagine now, if you will, a state of being where you are perfectly content, perfectly at peace, perfectly happy, all on your own. Feel this state as vividly as you can. Feel the quiet joy that permeates your being, the deep sense of fulfillment that comes from within. This is your true nature, your God self expressing itself fully. As you embody this state, you will find that your relationships begin to transform. No longer burdened by needs or fear, you become free to love others unconditionally, without expectation or attachment. This is the paradox of letting go. In releasing your grip, you open yourself to deeper, more authentic connections. Now, let us deeper into the concept of being happy alone. This is not about isolation or loneliness. It is about self-sufficiency, about recognizing that you are the source of your own happiness. It is about cultivating a relationship with yourself that is so rich, so fulfilling, that being alone becomes a joy rather than a burden. Begin now to imagine yourself as someone who is completely at ease in their own company. See yourself enjoying solitary activities with genuine pleasure. Feel the peace that comes from quiet moments of self-reflection. Experience the joy of pursuing your passions and interests without needing anyone else's approval or participation. This state of self-sufficiency is your natural state. It is the expression of your God self, the infinite being that you truly are. When you align with this state, you tap into an endless wellspring of joy and fulfillment that is independent of external circumstances or relationships. But remember, my dear friends, this is not about pushing others away or closing your heart. On the contrary, when you learn to be happy alone, you become capable of forming deeper, more authentic connections with others. You approach relationships from a place of wholeness rather than lack, of giving rather than taking. Imagine now a life where your relationships are no longer based on need or fear, but on genuine love and mutual growth. See yourself interacting with others from a place of inner fullness, sharing your joy rather than seeking it from them. This is the natural result of learning to be happy alone. As you cultivate this inner state of happiness and self-sufficiency, you may find that some relationships in your life begin to change. Some may fall away while others deepen and flourish. This is a natural part of the process. Trust in it. For as you align with your true self, your outer world must rearrange itself to match your new inner reality. Now let us address a fear that may arise as you contemplate letting go and being happy alone, the fear of loneliness. This fear is based on a misunderstanding of your true nature. You are never truly alone, for you are one with the infinite. The entire universe resides within you. Imagine, if you will, that you are an ocean. Each relationship, each person in your life is like a wave on the surface of this ocean. Waves may come and go, rise and fall, but the ocean remains vast and unchanging. This is your true nature, infinite, boundless, complete in itself. When you realize this truth, when you align with this state of being, loneliness becomes impossible. For how can you be lonely when you are one with all that is? How can you lack companionship when you are in constant communion with the divine within you? This realization, my friends, is the key to letting go and being happy alone. It is the understanding that you are never truly alone, that the companionship and love you seek are always available to you, for they are your very essence. As you embody this truth, you will find that your need to cling to others diminishes. You become free to love without attachment, to connect without dependency. Your relationships become expressions of your inner joy, rather than attempts to fill an inner void. Now let us explore the practical aspects of letting go and learning to be happy alone. This is not merely a philosophical concept, but a state of being that you can cultivate through consistent practice. Begin by setting aside time each day to be alone with yourself. This is not time to distract yourself with external entertainment, but time to truly be with yourself. Sit in silence. Observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment. Get to know yourself as you would a dear friend. As you do this, you may encounter resistance. Old patterns of thinking, old fears and insecurities may surface. Do not fight them. Simply observe them with compassion, understanding that they are not your true self, but merely conditioned responses that you can choose to release. Practice self-love and self-care. Treat yourself with the same kindness and consideration you would show to show you deeply care about. Engage in activities that bring you joy and fulfillment, not to impress others or fill time, but because they are genuine expressions of your inner being. Cultivate your passions and interests. Develop skills and knowledge that excite you. As you do this, you build a rich inner world that provides endless satisfaction and fulfillment. You become your own best company, your own source of joy and inspiration. Remember, my friends, the goal is not to avoid relationships or push people away. The goal is to approach relationships from a place of wholeness and self-sufficiency. When you are happy alone, you no longer enter relationships out of need or fear. You choose to connect with others because you want to share your joy, not because you need them to make you happy. As you practice these principles, you may find that your perception of being alone changes dramatically. What once felt like loneliness now becomes solitude, a peaceful, nurturing state where you commune with your higher self, with the God within you. Imagine now a life where being alone is not something you fear, but something you look forward to. See yourself relishing moments of solitude, using them as opportunities for self-discovery and spiritual growth. Feel the deep sense of peace and contentment that comes from being completely at ease with yourself. This state of being is your birthright. It is the natural expression of your divine nature. As you align with it, you will find that your entire life begins to transform. Your relationships become more authentic and fulfilling. Your work becomes a joyful expression of your inner being rather than a burden. Every aspect of your life begins to reflect the inner peace and happiness you have cultivated. Now, let us address a common misconception about letting go and being happy alone. Some may fear that this means becoming cold or detached, closing their hearts to love and connection. Nothing could be further from the truth. When you learn to be happy alone, when you release your attachments and dependencies, you become capable of loving more deeply and authentically than ever before. Your love becomes an overflowing of your inner joy rather than an attempt to fill an inner void. You love not because you need, but because love is your nature. Imagine, if you will, a love that comes from a place of fullness rather than lack. A love that seeks to give rather than to get. A love that enhances your life but does not define it. This is the kind of love that becomes possible when you learn to be happy alone. As you cultivate this state of being, you may find that the quality of your relationships improves dramatically. No longer burdened by neediness or fear of abandonment, you become free to be fully present with others. You can appreciate them for who they are rather than for what they can do for you. This shift in consciousness affects not only your romantic relationships, but all your connections with family, friends, colleagues, and even strangers. You begin to approach every interaction from a place of inner fullness, ready to give rather than to take. Now, my dear friends, I want you to understand something crucial. This journey of letting go and learning to be happy alone is not always easy. It requires courage, persistence, and faith. There may be moments of doubt, times when old patterns try to reassert themselves. When these moments come, remember this: you are not alone in this journey. The entire universe is supporting you. The God within you is guiding you every step of the way. Trust in this inner guidance, for it will never lead you astray. Imagine now that you are embarking on a great adventure. The destination is not some external place, but the infinite realm within you. Each step you take in letting go, in learning to be happy alone, is a step deeper into your true self, your divine nature. As you progress on this journey, you will discover treasures beyond your wildest dreams. You will uncover depths of joy, peace, and love that you never knew existed within you. You will realize that everything you have ever sought in the external world has always been within you, waiting to be recognized and expressed. This realization, my friends, is the true meaning of letting go and being happy alone. It is not about isolation or detachment, but about reconnecting with your true self, your divine nature. It is about remembering that you are complete, whole, and perfect just as you are. As you embody this truth, as you live from this state of being, you become a light in this world. Your very presence becomes a reminder to others of their own divine nature. Without saying a word, you teach the profound lesson of self-sufficiency and inner joy. Imagine the impact you can have on the world when you approach life from this state of being. See yourself moving through your days with quiet confidence and inner peace. Feel the joy that radiates from you, touching everyone you encounter. This is not just a possibility, it is your destiny, if you choose to claim it. Now let us take a moment to address any lingering doubts or fears you may have about letting go and being happy alone. Perhaps you worry that you will miss out on life's experiences, that you will become isolated or disconnected from others. I tell you now, with absolute certainty, that the opposite is true. When you learn to be happy alone, when you release your attachments and dependencies, you become free to engage with life more fully than ever before. You become capable of forming deeper, more meaningful connections because you are no longer approaching relationships from a place of need or fear. Imagine a life where you are free to love without conditions, to give without expectation, to connect without losing yourself. This is the life that becomes possible when you master the art of being happy alone. Moreover, as you cultivate this inner state of happiness and self-sufficiency, you become magnetic to positive experiences and relationships. The universe responds to your inner state, bringing you circumstances and connections that match your new vibration of joy and self-love. Remember, my friends, the outer world is a reflection of your inner state. As you transform your inner world, your outer world must change to match it. This is the law of your being, the creative principle of the universe itself. So I urge you now to commit fully to this journey of letting go and learning to be happy alone. Embrace it not as a sacrifice, but as the greatest gift you can give yourself. For in doing so, you reclaim your power, you remember your divinity, you step into the fullness of who you truly are. Begin today, in this very moment, to live from the state of someone who is completely at peace with themselves, who finds joy and fulfillment in their own company. Feel it, embody it, become it in your imagination, and watch as your outer world shifts to match this new inner reality. As you practice this, you may encounter resistance from your old self, from ingrained patterns of thinking and behaving. When this happens, do not fight against it. Simply observe it with compassion, understanding that it is not your true self, but merely a habit of consciousness that you are now choosing to release. Remember always, you are the operant power in your reality. You are the creator of your experience, the happiness you seek, the love you desire, the fulfillment you crave. All of these are already within you, waiting to be recognized and expressed. As you progress on this journey, you will likely find that your perspective on relationships changes dramatically. You begin to see them not as sources of happiness or security, but as opportunities for growth, for sharing, for expressing the love that already fills your heart. Imagine now a life where you approach every relationship, romantic, platonic, familial, from a place of inner fullness. See yourself giving love freely, without need or expectation. Feel the joy of connecting with others, not to fill a void, but to share the abundance that overflows from your heart. This, my dear friends, is the true meaning of letting go and being happy alone. It is not about isolation or detachment, but about discovering the infinite wellspring of love and joy within you. It is about becoming so complete in yourself that your relationships become expressions of your inner abundance, rather than attempts to find traps. As you embody this state of being, you will find that the quality of your relationships improves dramatically. You attract people who resonate with your new vibration of self-love and inner peace. Your connections become deeper, more authentic, more fulfilling. Moreover, you become capable of loving others more fully and unconditionally. No longer burdened by neediness or fear of loss, you can appreciate others for who they are rather than for what they can do for you. You become free to support their growth and happiness without losing yourself in the process. This shift in consciousness extends beyond your personal relationships to every aspect of your life. Your work becomes a joyful expression of your inner being rather than a means to gain approval or security. Your pursuits and passions become pure expressions of your unique gifts rather than attempts to fill an inner void. Imagine now a life where everything you do comes from a place of inner fullness, where every action is an overflow of the joy and love within you. This is not just a possibility, it is your birthright, your natural state of being when you remember your true nature. As you progress on this journey of letting go and being happy alone, you may find that your entire perception of life changes. What once seemed like challenges or obstacles now become opportunities for growth and self-discovery. What once triggered fear or anxiety now becomes an invitation to trust in your inner strength and wisdom. You begin to see the perfection in every moment, the divine orchestration behind every experience. You recognize that everything in your life, every person, every situation, every seeming setback is serving your highest good, helping you to remember and express your true nature. This realization, my friends, is the ultimate freedom. It is the understanding that you are not a victim of circumstances, but the creator of your reality. It is the knowing that your happiness, your fulfillment, your peace are not dependent on anything or anyone outside of you, but are the very essence of who you are. As you embody this truth, as you live from this state of being, you become a living testament to the power of consciousness. Your very presence becomes a teaching, a reminder to others of their own divine nature and infinite potential. Imagine the impact you can have on the world when you approach life from this state of inner fullness and self-sufficiency. See yourself moving through your days with quiet confidence and radiant joy. Feel the love that flows from you, touching everyone you encounter, transforming lives without a word being spoken. This, my dear friends, is your true purpose, to remember your divine nature and to express it fully in the world. Letting go and learning to be happy alone is not an end in itself, but a means to this greater purpose. It is the path to becoming who you truly are, to living as the God self that is your true identity. So I urge you now, with all the love in my heart, to embrace this journey fully. Commit yourself to the practice of letting go, of releasing your attachments and dependencies. Dedicate yourself to cultivating inner joy and self-sufficiency. Begin each day by reminding yourself of your true nature. Before you open your eyes in the morning, feel the completeness, the wholeness, the divine perfection that you are. Carry this feeling with you throughout your day, letting it inform every thought, every word, every action. When you encounter situations that challenge your new state of being, when old patterns of thinking or behaving try to reassert themselves, do not fight against them. Simply observe them with compassion, understanding that they are not your true self, but merely habits of consciousness that you are now choosing to release. Remember always that you are not alone in this journey. The entire universe is supporting you. The God within you is guiding you every step of the way. Trust in this inner guidance, for it will never lead you astray. As you persist in this practice, as you continue to embody the state of someone who is completely at peace with themselves, who finds joy and fulfillment in their own company, you will find that your entire life transforms. Your relationships become more authentic and fulfilling. Your work becomes a joyful expression of your unique gifts. Every aspect of your life begins to reflect the inner peace and happiness you have cultivated. Moreover, you become a beacon of light in this world, a living example of the joy and fulfillment that come from true self-sufficiency. Without saying a word, you teach others the profound lesson of inner happiness and self-love. Imagine the ripple effect you can create in the world as you embody this state of being. See how your presence alone can inspire others to look within themselves, to discover their own inner wellspring of joy and fulfillment. Feel the satisfaction of knowing that by healing yourself, by remembering your true nature, you are contributing to the healing and awakening of the entire world. This, my dear friends, is the true power of letting go and learning to be happy alone. It is not just about personal fulfillment, but about transforming the world from the inside out. It is about remembering and expressing your divine nature, and in doing so, reminding others of their own divinity. As we come to the close of our time together, I want to leave you with this final thought. The journey of letting go and learning to be happy alone is not always easy, but it is always worth it. It is the path to true freedom, to lasting happiness, to the full expression of your divine nature. So go forth, my friends, with courage and determination. Embrace this journey as the greatest adventure of your life. Trust in the process, have faith in your inner guidance, and know that with every step you take, you are moving closer to the full realization of who you truly are. Remember always, you are complete, you are whole, you are the source of your own happiness. Everything you have ever sought in the external world is already within you, waiting to be recognized and expressed. As you embody this truth, as you live from this state of inner fullness and self-sufficiency, you become a living testament to the power of consciousness. Your very presence becomes a blessing to the world, a reminder of the infinite potential that resides within each of us. Thank you for your attention, for your willingness to explore these profound truths. May your journey of self-discovery and transformation be filled with joy, wonder, and the deep satisfaction of living as your truest, most authentic self. And may you always remember the divine power that resides within you, waiting to be expressed in all its magnificence. Go now and create the reality you desire. For you are the author of your story, the creator of your world. You are, in truth, the very operation of God in your reality. Embrace this truth, live from it, and watch as your life transforms in the most beautiful and unexpected ways. Thank you, and may your journey be blessed with the full realization of your divine nature and the deep, abiding happiness that naturally flows from this knowing. You are the miracle you seek. You are the love you desire. You are in every moment the full expression of divine joy and fulfillment made manifest. Go forth and live from this truth, now and always. Let me share something remarkable with you. Last week, a man came to me after one of my lectures. He was successful by worldly standards, wealthy, respected, accomplished. Yet there was an emptiness in his eyes that spoke volumes. He said to me, Neville, I've achieved everything I thought I wanted, but I still don't know who I am. You see, my beloved friends, this is the greatest tragedy of human existence, to live an entire life without discovering your true identity. Most people live and die as strangers to themselves, wearing masks so long they've forgotten their true face. Tonight, I want to share with you the profound truth that has transformed countless lives. The truth that will set you free from all limitations once you truly grasp it. That truth is simply this: you are the living manifestation of God Himself, temporarily dwelling in human form. Now, I know this might sound startling to some of you. You might be thinking, Neville, surely you don't mean that literally. But I tell you, with every fiber of my being, I mean exactly that. Let me share with you why this is not blasphemy, but the very truth that Scripture has been trying to tell us. You see, when God speaks of Himself in Scripture, He uses one name above all others, that's I am. When Moses asked God His name, God replied, I am that I am. This wasn't just some mystical answer. It was the revelation of God's nature, and by extension, your nature. Think about it, my dear friends. What is the one thing you cannot deny about yourself? What is the one thing that remains constant throughout all your experiences? It is the simple awareness of being I am. Before you say I am rich or I am poor, I am successful or I am failing, there must first be this fundamental I am. This I am is God Himself, expressing as you. This is why Jesus said, I and my Father are one. He wasn't claiming something unique to Himself. He was revealing a universal truth about human identity. Let me share an experience that will help illuminate this profound truth. A lady came to me burdened with years of self-doubt and limitation. I asked her to do a simple exercise. For the next 5 minutes, I said, strip away every label you've ever accepted about yourself. Remove every role, every title, every description. What remains? At first, she was uncomfortable with this exercise. Like most people, she had built her identity on external things, her roles, her relationships, her achievements. But as she persisted, something remarkable happened. She touched that pure awareness, that simple I am, and in that moment she knew who she truly was. You see, my wonderful friends, finding out who you are is not a process of accumulating more knowledge or gathering more experiences. It's actually a process of removing everything that you are not until only your true self remains. Think of it this way. If you had a golden statue and it was covered with layers of paint, finding the gold wouldn't involve adding anything. It would involve removing the layers that hide the gold. Your true self is like that gold. It's already there, perfect and complete, hidden beneath layers of accumulated ideas about who you think you are. This is why Scripture says, be still and know that I am God. Notice it doesn't say think about God or study about God. It says be still and know. This knowing comes not through the mind, but through direct experience of your own being. Let me share with you the 3 fundamental truths about your identity that you must grasp. First truth, you are not your body. Your body is something you have, not something you are. You say my body just as you say my car or my house. Whatever you can possess cannot be what you are. Second truth, you are not your thoughts. You can observe your thoughts, which proves you are the observer, not the thoughts themselves. The true you is the awareness in which thoughts appear. Third truth, you are not your roles or your story. All these are temporary expressions, but you are the eternal expresser. These truths lead us to a profound question. If you are not your body, not your thoughts, and not your roles, then who are you? This is where we must enter into what I call the sacred silence of self-discovery. Let me share something profound that happened in my own experience. One night, alone in my room in New York City, I entered into a state of deep contemplation. As I sat there, I began to strip away every concept I had ever held about myself. Layer after layer fell away, until suddenly, and I want you to listen to this carefully, I experienced myself as pure awareness, boundless and eternal. You see, this is not just theory or philosophy. This is practical metaphysics that transforms your entire existence. Let me share with you the 3 levels of self-discovery that you must navigate to find your true identity. The first level, the outer self. This is the self that most people live and die as, the personality, the social mask, the collection of habits and patterns that we show to the world. It's like an actor so immersed in a role that he's forgotten he's acting. Let me share a perfect example. A successful doctor came to me, completely identified with his profession. His entire sense of self was wrapped up in being Dr. Smith. When he lost his license due to a false accusation, he fell into deep depression. Why? Because he had confused his role with his reality. You see, my wonderful friends, roles are necessary for the play of life, but they are not who you are. You are the actor behind every role. This brings us to our second level. The second level, the inner self. Beneath the outer personality lies what I call the inner self, the consciousness that observes all your experiences. This is closer to your true identity. But even this is not the final truth. Think about it this way. When you say, I had a thought, who is the I that had the thought? When you say, I had a feeling, who is the I that experienced the feeling? There must be something prior to thoughts and feelings, something that is aware of them. This is why Scripture says the kingdom of heaven is within you. It's pointing to this deeper level of self, this inner awareness that witnesses all experiences but remains untouched by them. The third level, the divine self. Now we come to the ultimate truth about your identity, what I call the divine self. This is not something to be achieved or attained. It is what you eternally are. It is the I am that never changes, never begins, and never ends. Let me share a profound technique for discovering this divine self. I call it the reverse inquiry. Instead of asking, who am I? Assume the position of pure awareness and ask, who is asking this question? Keep following this inquiry back until you reach the source of all questions. You see, my beloved friends, discovering who you are is not really a process of becoming something new. It's a process of uncovering what you eternally are. It's like the sun hidden behind clouds. The clouds may come and go, but the sun remains eternally itself. This is why Jesus said, before Abraham was, I am. He wasn't speaking of the personal Jesus, but of this eternal I am that is your true identity. You must learn to distinguish between your eternal nature and its temporary expressions. Let me share with you 3 practical exercises for discovering your true self. The first exercise, the silent witness. Throughout your day, practice being aware of being aware. Don't just experience your experiences. Notice that you are the awareness in which all experiences appear. The second exercise, the sacred question. Repeatedly ask yourself, who is aware of this moment? Don't accept any verbal answer. Let the question take you deeper into pure awareness. The third exercise, the divine recognition. Whatever you experience, recognize that you are the consciousness in which it appears. You are not the passing show, but the eternal witness of the show. You see, my wonderful friends, most people spend their entire lives trying to become something, trying to achieve something, trying to gather experiences. But I tell you this, all that effort is taking you away from the simple truth of who you already are. Think about it. When you say I am, you're expressing the same I am that God expressed when he declared I am that I am. This I am is your true identity. Everything else, your personality, your achievements, your roles, these are merely costumes worn by the eternal I am. Let me share something remarkable about this truth. Once you discover who you really are, all effort ceases. You no longer need to try to become anything because you recognize that you are already everything. This is why Scripture says, be still and know that I am God. My wonderful friends, now we come to what I consider the most transformative aspect of self-discovery, the power of recognizing your true self. This is not merely an intellectual understanding, but a living experience that will revolutionize your entire existence. Let me share something profound that occurred during one of my deep meditations. I suddenly realized that everything I had seeking peace, joy, fulfillment was not something to be achieved, but something to be recognized as my very nature. This recognition, my dear friends, is what I call the ultimate revolution. You see, there's a fundamental difference between knowing something intellectually and recognizing it as your very being. Let me illustrate this with a story that perfectly captures this truth. A lion cub was raised among sheep. It bleated like a sheep, ate grass like a sheep, and thought itself to be a sheep. One day, an adult lion saw this peculiar sight and roared with laughter. The cub, frightened, tried to bleat and run away. The adult lion caught him and dragged him to a clear pool of water. For the first time, the cub saw his own reflection alongside the adult lion's. In that moment of recognition, something profound happened. The cub didn't become a lion. He recognized that he had always been one. This, my beloved friends, is exactly what must happen to you. You are not becoming God. You are recognizing that you have always been the very expression of God himself. This is why Scripture declares, "Know ye not that ye are gods?" Let me share with you the 3 stages of self-recognition. The first stage, the recognition of presence. Begin by recognizing that before you are anything, you are. Before you are male or female, rich or poor, successful or unsuccessful, you simply are. This pure sense of being, this I am, is your first clue to your true identity. Think about it. You never experience yourself as absent. You might experience different states, different circumstances, but you never experience your own absence. This is because you are the eternal presence in which all experiences appear. The second stage, the recognition of awareness. Now go deeper. Recognize that you are not just present, but you are aware. This awareness is not something you have, it is what you are. Everything else appears and disappears in this daredevil awareness. But the awareness itself never changes. Let me share a practical exercise I call the awareness watch. Throughout your day, whenever you remember, notice that you are aware. Don't try to analyze or understand awareness. Simply recognize that you are the awareness in which everything appears. The third stage, the recognition of identity. This is the deepest recognition that this awareness, this presence, is not just a quality you possess, but is your very identity. It is the I am that God declared himself to be. You see, my wonderful friends, most spiritual seekers make a fundamental mistake. They try to reach God, try to connect with God, try to become one with God. But I tell you this, you cannot reach what you already are. You cannot connect with what you've never been separated from. You cannot become what you eternally are. Let me share with you what I call the 3 great illusions that prevent self-recognition. The first illusion, the illusion of separation. You believe you are separate from God, separate from your good, separate from what you desire. This is the fundamental illusion that must be dissolved through self-recognition. The second illusion, the illusion of becoming. You believe you must become something other than what you are. This keeps you perpetually seeking, never finding. The third illusion, the illusion of distance. You believe that what you seek is far away, in some distant future or place. This prevents you from recognizing what is already here, already you. Now let me share with you a profound technique for dissolving these illusions. I call it the recognition practice. Sit quietly and follow these steps. Recognize that you are aware right now. Recognize that this awareness is not something you created or achieved. Recognize that this awareness is the same awareness that God declared as I am. Recognize that you are this I am. You see, my dear friends, the scripture says, be still and know that I am God. Notice it doesn't say become God or reach God, it says know. This knowing is recognition. Let me share something remarkable about this recognition. When you truly recognize who you are, Everything changes while nothing changes. The world remains exactly as it is, but your experience of it is completely transformed. Consider this profound truth. The sun doesn't need to do anything to be the sun. It doesn't need to practice being the sun or try to become a better sun. It simply is what it is, and from that natural state, it illuminates everything. In the same way, once you recognize who you really are, you no longer need to try to be anything. Your natural state is complete fulfillment, complete peace, complete joy. These are not states to be achieved, but your very nature to be recognized. Let me begin with something that happened just yesterday. A gentleman approached me after my lecture, deeply troubled. He said, "Neville, I understand intellectually that I am God's perfect expression, but my daily experience shows me something entirely different. This, my wonderful friends, is the gap we must bridge, the gap between intellectual understanding and lived experience. You see, living from your true identity is not about adding anything to yourself. It's about removing the veils that hide your true nature. Let me share with you what I call the 3 veils of forgetfulness. The first veil, the body identity. Most people are completely identified with their body. They think I am this body. But I tell you this, you are not the body, you are the consciousness that animates the body. Your body is in you, you are not in the body. Let me share a profound exercise I call the consciousness shift. Throughout your day, whenever you remember, shift your identity from body to consciousness. Instead of thinking I am walking, recognize I am aware of walking. Instead of I am eating, recognize I am aware of eating. You see, this simple shift begins to loosen the grip of body identification. It's like stepping back from a movie screen and recognizing that you are the awareness in which the movie appears. The second veil, the thought identity. Deeper than body identification is thought identification. People believe they are their thoughts. But ask yourself this, if you are your thoughts, who is aware of the thoughts? Let me share something remarkable about thoughts. They come and go, appear and disappear. But you, the awareness in which thoughts appear, remain constant. You are not the passing clouds of thought, but the unchanging sky of awareness. Here's a practical technique I call the thought witness. Throughout your day, practice watching your thoughts without becoming involved in them. See them as clouds passing through the sky of your awareness. Don't try to change them or control them. Simply witness them. The third veil, the story identity. This is perhaps the subtlest veil, the story you tell about yourself. Your past, your failures, your successes, your relationships, all these form a story. And most people completely identify with this story. But I tell you this, you are not your story. You are the awareness in which all stories appear. This is why Scripture says, "Behold, I make all things new." When you recognize your true identity, you are free to create a new story at any moment. Now let me share with you the 3 stages of living from your true identity. The first stage, recognition throughout the day. Begin by recognizing your true nature as pure awareness throughout your daily activities. Whether you're at work, at home, or in conversation, maintain the recognition that you are not the doer, but the awareness in which doing happens. I call this the constant recognition practice. No matter what you're doing, maintain the background awareness of your true nature. Like a screen that remains unchanged, while different movies play upon it. You remain the unchanging awareness, while life's experiences flow through you. The second stage, living from wholeness. Most people live from a sense of lack, constantly trying to add something to themselves to become complete. But when you recognize your true identity, you live from wholeness. Let me share a profound truth. Everything you seek, peace, joy, love, abundance, these are not things to be achieved, but your very nature to be recognized. When you live from wholeness, you no longer seek anything because you recognize that you are everything. Here's a practical application I call the wholeness recognition. Before you begin any activity, recognize that you are already complete. You are not doing the activity to become something. You're doing it as an expression of what you already are. The third stage, divine expression. This is the highest stage of living from true identity. Here you recognize that every action, every word, every thought is not yours but God's expression through you. You see, my wonderful friends, when Jesus said, I and my Father are one, he wasn't making a personal claim. He was declaring a universal truth about your identity. You are not a human being trying to express divinity. You are divine being expressing through human form. Let me share with you what I call the divine expression practice. Throughout your day, before any action, silently acknowledge God himself is expressing as this action through me. This transforms every mundane activity into a sacred expression. Now, let me address something crucial. Some of you might be thinking, but Neville, if I am divine being, why do I experience limitations and problems? This is where we must understand the difference between your true identity and your current state of consciousness. Your true identity is like the sun, eternally shining. But your state of consciousness is like the clouds that can temporarily obscure the sun. The sun hasn't changed or diminished. It's simply hidden from view. This is why Scripture says, put off the old man and put on the new man. The old man is your limited state of consciousness. The new man is your true identity as divine being. For you see, while your true identity never changes, your experience of life is determined by the state of consciousness you occupy. Let me share something remarkable that happened during one of my experiments with consciousness. I was in New York, physically present in my small apartment, but I had learned to occupy the state of consciousness of being in Barbados. Within weeks, against all physical evidence and probability, I found myself actually in Barbados. This, my dear friends, is the power of consciousness. You see, states of consciousness are like rooms in a vast mansion. Your true identity, the I am, is the inhabitant who can move from room to room. Let me share with you what I call the 3 levels of conscious transformation. The first level, recognition of states. Most people are completely identified with their current state. If they're in a state of lack, they believe they are lacking. If they're in a state of illness, they believe they are ill. But I tell you this, you are not the state. You are the awareness that can occupy different states. Let me share a practical technique I call the state observer. Throughout your day, practice observing your current state without identifying with it. Instead of saying I am depressed, recognize I am aware of experiencing a state of depression. This simple shift begins to free you from identification with states. The second level, movement between states. Once you recognize that you are not the state but the occupant of states, you can learn to move between them at will. This is what Scripture means when it says, in my Father's house are many mansions. Here's what I call the state shift practice. Choose a state you wish to occupy, let's say the state of abundance. First, recognize that this state already exists. You're not creating it, you're moving into it. Then ask yourself, what would I be thinking, feeling, and experiencing if I were in that state right now? You see, my beloved friends, this is not imagination as people commonly understand it. This is the actual movement of consciousness from one state to another. The outer world must then reorganize itself to match your new state. The third level, permanent transformation. This is the highest level of conscious transformation, where you learn to stabilize in higher states of consciousness. Let me share something profound about this level. Most people visit higher states occasionally, moments of peace, joy, or clarity, but they don't know how to remain there. They're like someone who visits a beautiful mansion but doesn't know they can live there permanently. I call this the divine occupation. It's the art of not just visiting but occupying divine states of consciousness. Here's how you practice it. First, choose a tuned state. Let's say the state of perfect peace. Second, recognize that this state is your natural state as divine being. Third, instead of trying to achieve peace, assume you are peace itself. Fourth, live from this assumption regardless of external circumstances. Now let me share with you what I call the 3 obstacles to transformation that you must understand and overcome. The first obstacle, mental habits. Your old patterns of thinking will try to pull you back to familiar states. This is why scripture says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Let me share a technique I call the pattern breaker. Whenever you catch yourself in an old thought pattern, stop and ask who is aware of this pattern. This immediately shifts you back to your true identity as the awareness. The second obstacle, emotional attachments. Even when we want to change, we often have hidden attachments to our current state. This is why Jesus said, let the dead bury their dead. Practice what I call the emotional release. Recognize that your emotions are not you. They are experiences passing through you. You can let them go because you are the unchanging awareness in which they appear. The third obstacle, physical evidence. The physical world will continue to show you evidence of your old state while your new state is taking root. This is where most people falter. Remember this profound truth. The physical world is not the cause of your state of consciousness. It is the effect. When you maintain a new state despite contrary evidence, the evidence must change to match your state. Let me share with you the 3 laws of conscious transformation. The first law, the law of consciousness. Whatever state you occupy in consciousness, you must express and experience. The second law, the law of assumption. You become what you assume yourself to be. The third law, the law of expression. Your outer world is the expression of your inner state. My dear friends, tonight we enter into the very heart of conscious transformation, the practice of perfect states. This is where we move beyond mere understanding into the actual art of living from enlightened consciousness. Let me share something remarkable that occurred just last week. A lady came to me in deep distress about her financial situation. Instead of trying to change her circumstances, I showed her how to occupy the state of divine abundance. Within days, opportunities began appearing that she hadn't seen before. You see, it wasn't the world that changed. It was her state of consciousness. Let's explore what I call the 3 perfect states that form the foundation of enlightened living. The first perfect state, divine love. Most people think of love as an emotion or a relationship between separate beings. But I tell you this, divine love is a state of consciousness, your natural state as divine being. Let me share a profound practice I call the love recognition. Throughout your day, recognize that love is not something you feel, but what you are. Instead of trying to feel love, recognize that you are love itself expressing. You see, when Jesus said God is love, he wasn't describing a quality of God. He was describing God's very nature, which is your nature. This recognition transforms every relationship because you're no longer trying to get love or give love. You're being loved. The second perfect state, divine wisdom. Wisdom is not accumulated knowledge, but a state of consciousness that knows through direct recognition. It's what scripture means by be still and know. Here's what I call the wisdom practice. Before making any decision, shift from thinking to direct knowing. Instead of analyzing pros and cons, enter the state of divine wisdom and let the answer reveal itself. You see, my wonderful friends, when you occupy the state of divine wisdom, you have access to all knowledge. This is why Solomon didn't ask for knowledge. He asked for wisdom, and all knowledge was included. The third perfect state, divine power. True power is not the ability to control or dominate, but the state of knowing that all power flows through you as divine expression. Let me share the power recognition practice. Throughout your day, recognize that any power you express, whether thinking, speaking, or acting, is not your personal power, but divine power expressing through you. Now, let me share with you the 3 stages of practicing perfect states. The first stage, recognition. Begin by recognizing that perfect states are not something to achieve, but your natural condition to realize. Like the sun doesn't practice shining. It simply is light. You don't need to practice perfection. You need to recognize your perfect nature. Practice what I call the perfect recognition. Throughout your day, before any activity, recognize, I am the perfect expression of divine being expressing as this activity. The second stage, occupation. This is where you learn to fully occupy perfect states regardless of external conditions. Most people let circumstances determine their state. But I tell you this, you must determine your state regardless of circumstances. Here's a profound technique I call the state occupation. Choose a perfect state, let's say divine peace. Now occupy that state completely, letting go of all resistance to current conditions. You're not trying to change conditions, you're occupying the state that will naturally transform them. The third stage, expression. This is where perfect states become your natural way of being. You no longer need to think about occupying them because you recognize they are your true nature. Let me share what I call the three aspects of perfect expression. First aspect, spontaneous expression. Perfect states express spontaneously without effort or planning. Second aspect, complete expression. Perfect states express completely, not partially or gradually. Third aspect, eternal expression. Perfect states express eternally, not temporarily or conditionally. Now let me address something crucial about practicing perfect states. Many people ask, but Neville, how can I maintain perfect states when the world shows me imperfection? Remember this profound truth, the world you see is the outpicturing of your state of consciousness. When you occupy a perfect state, the world must transform to match that state. This is why Scripture says, "Be ye perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect." Let me share with you what I call the three keys to maintaining perfect states. The first K, absolute recognition. Recognize that perfection is not a future achievement, but your present nature. The second key, complete acceptance. Accept your perfect nature without trying to improve or change it. The third key, natural expression. Let perfection express naturally without forcing or controlling.